The silent generator. Power from temperature. No moving parts, no fanfare. Just hot and cold, making electricity. It's a concept that feels almost like alchemy. A trick of physics that sidesteps the noise and complexity we associate with generating power. There are no pistons, no turbines, no combustion. Just a quiet, persistent flow of energy born from a fundamental property of the universe. Welcome back. I'm the archive, been poking at forgotten tech longer than most folks have been paying attention. My workshop is a museum of ideas that were once the future, and some that still could be. We're surrounded by the ghosts of brilliant solutions to problems people have forgotten we ever had. Today, the silent generator that turns temperature difference into power. It's a technology that hides in plain sight, a workhorse that asks for nothing but a little heat on one side and a little cold on the other. It's the kind of elegant, robust engineering that gets overlooked in an age of disposable complexity. Stay with me. I'll show you the simple two-metal trick and why people trusted it for decades without ever touching it. This isn't about faith. It's about the certainty of physics. It's the kind of trust an engineer has in a law of nature. A principle so reliable you can build a mission around it and walk away for half a century. Modern power isn't built for certain jobs. Our grid is a marvel of interconnectedness, a sprawling network of high-tension wires and humming substations. It's designed for cities, for industry, for a world where the plug is always just a few feet away. But this network has edges. It has boundaries. And beyond those boundaries, its rules no longer apply. Out where it's cold and lonely, batteries die. Their chemical reactions slow to a crawl, their capacity plummets. They become dead weight, unreliable anchors in environments that punish the unprepared. A battery is a promise of power, but in the deep cold, it's a promise easily broken. Sunlight can vanish for months. Solar panels, the darlings of off-grid power, are useless when the sun dips below the horizon for a polar winter. They depend on a celestial partner that isn't always there. For critical systems in the high latitudes, you can't base your survival on a star that takes a vacation. Engines choke on the wrong kind of weather. Loud, obvious, high maintenance. They need fuel, they need oil, they need air filters, they have gaskets that fail and moving parts that wear out. Every vibration is a potential point of failure, every sound a beacon announcing your presence. They are a constant demand on resources and attention. Satellites need decades of reliable power. When you launch a billion-dollar instrument into the void, you can't send a technician to change the batteries. You need a power source that will function flawlessly for 30, 40, even 50 years. Long after its creators have retired. Remote sensors must ride out winters with zero babysitting. Whether it's a seismic monitor on a dormant volcano or a weather station in the Antarctic, these devices are our eyes and ears in places we can't be. They have one job: to collect data reliably, without interruption, no matter the conditions. Failure isn't an option. Some devices demanded no telltale heat, no supply chain, no tracks at all. This is the world of clandestine operations. Power has to be silent, not just audibly, but thermally and logistically. It can't have a signature that shows up on infrared. It can't require a supply line for fuel. It needs to appear as if by magic and leave no trace. Here's the trick. 2 different metals, 2 junctions, one hot, one cold. It's a principle discovered by Thomas Seebeck in 1821. He noticed that a circuit made of 2 dissimilar metals would produce a current if the junctions were held at different temperatures. He thought it was a magnetic phenomenon, but he had stumbled upon the direct conversion of heat into electricity. Electrons drift because of the temperature difference. That drift is voltage. In any conductive material, electrons are in constant random motion. But when you heat one end, you give the electrons there more energy. They move more vigorously, spreading out toward the colder end. In the right materials, this creates a net migration, a pressure. It's called the Seebeck effect, thermal gradient in, electricity out. By joining two different materials, specialized semiconductors that react to heat in opposite ways, we can channel that electron pressure into a useful circuit. One material pushes electrons away from the heat, the other pulls them toward it. Together they create a current. The same sandwich in reverse pumps heat. This is the Peltier effect. Run a current through the device, and one side gets hot while the other gets cold. It becomes a solid-state heat pump used in everything from portable coolers to precision temperature control for lasers. Flip it again and it becomes a generator. The physics is beautifully symmetrical. Pick the right alloys, stack enough junctions, and you get usable power, with no moving parts. A single junction produces only a tiny voltage. But like batteries, you can stack them in series to build voltage, and in parallel to build current. Hundreds of these tiny junctions, called thermocouples, are packed into a compact module between two ceramic plates. As long as hot stays hot and cold stays cold, the electrons don't care. They just work. The entire system is governed by the second law of thermodynamics. Heat naturally flows from a hot source to a cold sink. The thermoelectric module just inserts itself into that flow and siphons off a little energy as electricity along the way. It's a toll booth on a thermodynamic highway. Pair that junction stack with a steady heater and you get a thermoelectric generator. The heater can be anything: a small flame from burning propane or kerosene, the decay of a radioactive isotope, even the waste heat from a pipeline or an engine's exhaust manifold. The generator is agnostic about its source of heat. Deep space probes use them because sunlight fades and service calls aren't an option. The Voyager probes, launched in 1977 and still talking to us from interstellar space, are powered by radioisotope thermoelectric generators, or RTGs. A pellet of plutonium-238 gets hot from its own radioactive decay, and a bank of thermocouples turns that heat into decades of reliable electricity. Beacons, buoys and weather stations loved the reliability. Run it and forget it. On a remote mountaintop or a storm-tossed sea, the last thing you want is a power source that needs maintenance. A thermoelectric generator, fueled by a tank of propane, can run a navigational light or a data transmitter for a year or more with no human intervention. Remote sensors took advantage of silence and durability. Imagine monitoring the subtle seismic tremors of a volcano. You can't have the vibrations of a gasoline generator interfering with your instruments. A TEG sits in perfect silence, producing clean, steady power, becoming one with the environment it's meant to observe. Espionage gear needed power that didn't breathe. No hiss, no fumes, no giveaways. During the Cold War, these devices were perfect for powering listening posts and spy equipment. They could be buried, disguised, and left to operate for years, powered by a small silent heat source, betraying nothing of the secrets they were gathering. Chain it, heat in, current out, conditioned, and into instruments that just keep running. The raw output of a TEG is low-voltage DC. It needs to be conditioned, boosted and regulated to be useful for most electronics. But this is standard, simple circuitry. The core of the system, the generator itself, remains a paragon of simplicity. Today, the idea lives on, from stoves that charge radios to sensors that sip heat from pipes. While not as efficient as a combustion engine, their reliability gives them a permanent niche. You can find them in camping stoves that use the heat from the fire to charge your phone, or in wristwatches powered by your own body heat. Waste heat is everywhere. Turning gradients into watts is free money. Every factory, every power plant, every vehicle vents enormous amounts of low-grade heat into the atmosphere. Thermoelectric generators offer a way to scavenge some of that wasted energy, turning a thermodynamic problem into a source of power. It's not a lot of power, but it's free and it's constant. Simple ingredients, serious reliability, quiet power when nothing else fits. That's the legacy of the thermoelectric generator. It's not a technology that will power our cities. It's not flashy or revolutionary. It's a specialist, a quiet professional that shows up, does its job flawlessly under impossible conditions, and asks for nothing in return. I'm the archive. If you like tech that whispers but works, subscribe, and I'll dig up the next forgotten marvel. There are more stories like this, buried in old patents and dusty manuals. Stories of elegant solutions and quiet brilliance. Join me and we'll bring them back into the light.